Hello everyone, and welcome back to another video on the Siley Stats YouTube channel. So today, as you can see, we have quite a bit to get to here. But before we get to any of that, we need to do our random team shout out, of course. So congratulations to Vestal. I apologize if I mispronounced that, but congratulations to Vestal from New York for earning first place in Chemistry Lab at Jordan Invitational. Congrats, Vestal. Now, let's get into our great big long list of things to talk about. So before we get into any of these state results, we're going to talk about Pennsylvania real quick. You know me, I'm a Cumberland Valley boy, and it's been a few videos since I've shown my Cumberland Valley bias, so we're going to fix that today. Now, if you were unaware, usually I do not talk about regional results. However, there is a somewhat significant regional result to talk about today, and it is the Central Pennsylvania regional results. So, Cumberland Valley, of course, is very dominant in the Central Pennsylvania region, as exemplified by this fantastic team score here. I asked Sentient Tree if there were any results that he could think of that were equal to this or better than this. The only result that could be better than this, of course, is the fabled perfect score of 23, getting first in every event. And he couldn't really come up with some examples. So, at the very least, this is one of the highest, or lowest, I should say, results for any team in a regional in Science Olympiad history. And at best, this is probably tied for the best regional result in Siley history. So, does this matter for Pennsylvania? Well, if you were paying attention when I was on my, normal document before, you will see that my answer is no. So, let's take a look at this. Now, I'm not sure if every state does this, but Pennsylvania, in Pennsylvania, all of the regions take the same tests. So once all of the regionals in Pennsylvania are over, people can compile all of the raw scores from each team that took the tests and compare them and see if regionals was states, what would be the rankings. Now, there are some exceptions to this. For example, you'll notice Write It, Do It isn't on here because Write It, Do It is scored differently between regions. And that's the only event that we know of that's scored differently between regions. Of course, some of these other events, there might have been unforeseen happenings on tournament day, which caused them to be run differently. And I mean, any other number of things that might happen to affect some of these scores or give one region an advantage over another in certain events. But regardless, this gives a pretty good picture of the current scene in Pennsylvania. And if you'll notice, Cumberland Valley, it's not a terrible performance, but it's also not great. Their two main in-state rivals, Harriton and Lower Merion, are far ahead of them. And then, in fact, if you look at Penncrest, they actually got pretty close to beating CV here in this hypothetical states matchup. So I don't know. Maybe Penncrest is something that we need to look out for. Probably not. But I mean, you never know. So yeah, this is just something to think about. So despite Cumberland Valley's fantastic, just superb regional performance here, it doesn't really translate to too much on the state level. Of course, anything can happen at Pennsylvania States. It's been a bit of a year for upsets, as you'll see in a couple minutes when we get to the state results. Speaking of which, a couple minutes being right now, because that's all I guess I'll go over these. So I do have some minor changes to make to my rankings. So the first one, we'll start here. The first one is going to be here. I moved Walton up ahead of Carmel. You can see in the last video, I had Carmel ahead of Walton. The only reason I did that is because if you look at their Actually, that is States. I think I made this comment before Georgia State's was released, but regardless, I wanted to save Georgia for last since it's probably the most impressive or interesting, I should say, state performance out of the bunch here. Um, but I guess I'll just talk about it now. The jig's kind of up. I've ruined the suspense, but that's okay. I never said I was a good YouTuber. Anyway, so I guess we'll take a look at this now. So Walton got first in Georgia, earned first, I should say. Congratulations, Walton. And I'll have some more details about this later when we talk more in depth about Georgia State's. But yes, they beat Fulton Science Academy by 1 point. This is not a tiebreaker. I did add up these scores. This is 1 point's worth of difference. Obviously, not a significant gap at all. If you drop any of the events that Fulton Science or that Walton beat Fulton Science in, Fulton Science would emerge victorious here. But regardless, Walton did beat Fulton Science by 1 point. And of course, Chattahoochee, not too far behind, actually, a 7 point gap. Again, if you dropped what is this, materials science or optics, Chattahoochee would move ahead of Fulton Science and even ahead of Walton as well. So very close race here in Georgia. And congratulations to Walton and Fulton Science. Again, I'll have more details on that later. But for now, we're going to talk about it in terms of rankings. So obviously, Fulton Science and Walton were extremely close as you can get, in fact. Without a straight up tie at their state competition and at their regional competition, which is what this comment is alluding to. They were also very close. So I've moved Walton ahead of Carmel to reflect how close this matchup is. Really, I feel like this could go either way at nationals in terms of which of these two teams ranks ahead of the other. I'm going to give the edge to Fulton Science just because they have more experience on the national scene. I'm reminded a little bit of, I'll show you guys, of 2022 in Pennsylvania when Cumberland Valley won the state tournaments with Harriton coming in second. And then at the 2022 national tournament, Harriton and Cumberland Valley, again, very close, but Harriton did edge them out. I presume just because Harriton has more experience on the national scene than Cumberland Valley did. So that's what I'm going to be sticking with here. Of course, some more data might come out. I don't know if either of these two teams are planning on attending any invitationals between now and nationals. We'll see if that shakes things up at all. But for now, I'm keeping Fulton Science ahead. Now let's move on to Stevenson and Thomas Jefferson. So I moved Thomas Jefferson down, and Stevenson, of course, moves up by proxy. And this again gets into some state results. So Virginia's state results, again, I wanted to save these until last because I found them the most interesting. But regardless, we'll talk about it now since I've already committed to it. So Virginia state results. Thomas Jefferson did indeed get first, but not by as much as I would have expected. For a team, really their main tournament performance that, is keeping them in the top 20 right now is going to be here at Cornell. Super scored, they do phenomenally. And that's really what's keeping them afloat in the top 20. And for a team that has this great of a super score, I would have expected a little bit better of a performance for them at states. Alas, they did not have that. Still beats CJ Woodson, who got second, by the way, by 10 points. And I'm just going to check quickly. Yeah, so if you dropped, what is that? Right to Do It. Let's do that real quick. Let's drop Right to Do It and see if that changes the results. It doesn't, but it makes it significantly closer. So you would need to drop, it looks like, 2 events, or maybe let's drop Chemistry Lab instead, see if that changes anything. This is my new method, by the way, of checking to see if a gap is significant. I know before I would just cite a hard number like 7. If it's over a 7-point gap, then it's a significant gap. But Sentient Tree, again, thank you, Sentient Tree, gave me a much better way to do it, where you just look at any events that, the losing team bombed? And if you exclude those, do they, get ahead of the winning team, the two teams you're trying to compare scores? So here's CJ Woodson. When you drop chemistry lab, they're tied, and it looks like, one, two, three, four, five, six. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, so Thomas Jefferson would have won that tiebreaker, assuming Virginia uses the standard, most events one tiebreaker. I know Texas does not. Not every state does. And that's, of course, why Jordan did not go to nationals last year. But anyway, so yes, that all of that to say that Thomas Jefferson moved down a little bit and Stevenson moved up a little bit by proxy. I'll need to look at that again, though. State results aren't a great way to assess a team's national performance unless that state has two really good teams attending nationals. Virginia likely will have two teams attending nationals, but the second is I don't expect to do that well. Now, let's get on to our state results. As you can see, we have quite a few to go over. So we're going to start with Connecticut. Again, I've ordered these from least interesting to most interesting, but I've kind of screwed all that up by showing you Virginia and Georgia, but we'll talk about them more in depth here. So let's start with Connecticut, though. So congratulations to South Windsor for winning the Connecticut State Tournament and being yet again the Connecticut State Champion. And again, they actually they had two rosters there. Their B team got second as well. Now, unlike Delaware, South Windsor does appear to be fairly dominant in Connecticut, so other Connecticut schools are going to have a harder time catching them next year unless South Windsor really slacks off. I'm actually curious now, South Windsor, how long they've been the state champion in Connecticut. Science Olympiad. What is... Oh, I don't... Okay, whatever. Science Olympiad Wiki. This is your best friend when you're doing Science Olympiad research. So let's look here. And South Windsor has been champion ever since 2022. So not a super long-running state champion, but they're still pretty established here. Yeah, congratulations to South Windsor for holding your state champion status. Next, we're going to go to South Dakota. So South Dakota, I unfortunately do not have the raw scores for. However, I do have the winner, which is Yankton from South Dakota. Congratulations, Yankton. Again, I don't know how much they won by, but this is yet another upset. Brookings has been the champion since the pandemic, and now, of course, they have been relegated to second place. So congratulations to Yankton for overthrowing the not quite long-running, but still fairly established state champion. Next, what are we going to? Oregon. All right, so Oregon is again an upset. I expected St. Mary's to win, and I checked Sentient Tree's predictions. He also expected St. Mary's Academy to win in Oregon. They did not. Again, I don't have the scores for this yet. But rest assured, Jesuit did win in Oregon. And yeah, like I said, both myself and Sentient Tree expected St. Mary's to win. However, Oregon, of course, not famously a team that participates in a lot of invitationals, or a state, I should say, that participates in a lot of invitationals. So, yeah, our data pool was fairly lackluster. Yes, and this was just my reasoning for why I expected St. Mary's to win. Jesuit didn't beat them by much last year, and St. Mary's, I found some invitationals that they attended, and I couldn't find any for Jesuit. So I expected St. Mary's to win, but Jesuit won, so congratulations to Jesuit. Next, we're going to get into some more competitive states. So let's talk about Hawaii. Whoopsies, there we go. All right, so Hawaii. Once I find it here. Here we go. Yeah, pretty easy winner to predict here, Iolani. Although it is worth noting their gap was much less than it was last year, or much more, I should say. Or sorry, less. Yes, much less than it was last year. So last year, the gap between Iolani and Pearl City, who also got second last year, was 26 points, and this year it's narrowed down to 16 points. I don't expect that to affect Iolani's ranking here. Again, state results, unless the state is sending two competitive teams to nationals, aren't a very good way of assessing, team performances. That's why Walton moved up, because the state is sending two competitive teams. Hawaii, of course, only sends one, although the team is very competitive. But yes, Iolani's retaining their strong position here at 11th, again, mostly due to their extremely strong ranking at MIT, which hopefully I will be able to show you at some points. There we go. 9th place at MIT. Phenomenal performance there. I'm keeping them in 11th. Next, we're going to move on to New York. So, New York is not a state that we had upsets in. In fact, I predicted this one. I don't want to say perfectly, but I did get Syosset and Stuyvesant in that order. I did predict that. However, if you look at these scores overall, it's a much worse performance than last year. Let's just go to last year's. I guess I'll show you guys that in a maybe at the end of the video, maybe as a little preview, I suppose. But what was I doing? Right, New York last year. So last year, New York states. Here we go. You can see Syosset, I believe, if I remember correctly, this is a record for the lowest team score in New York Science Olympiad history. So congratulations, Syosset, for doing that last year. But this year, their team score is, of course, much worse. Yes, and Stuyvesant's team score is much worse than the second place team score from last year as well. So overall, this reflects New York's overall lower position, or predicted lower position than last year. Of course, last year, Syosset, were they in 6th or 5th last year? They got 6th at nationals. Very strong performance there. But of course, this year I have them in 16th and Stuyvesant in 15th. I should probably switch that around, though, given that Syosset beat Stuyvesant pretty handily here at States. But regardless, congratulations to Syosset, and special congratulations to Stuyvesant for being the new runner-up in New York and earning yourselves a trip to nationals. Congrats. Now, we're going to move on to the two states we already talked about a little bit. Virginia. I'm going to see if I have anything to add about Virginia. We kind of already discussed this. Yeah, not really too much to add. Again, congratulations, Thomas Jefferson High School, for science and mathematics. That's the full name, I think. And CJ Woodson for getting first and second and earning yourselves trips to nationals. However, like I said, I expected Thomas Jefferson to win by a little more. That is why I moved them down. Now let's move on to Georgia. So Georgia, again, we talked about a little bit, but I do have some more things to add, I think. So once I get it here. Oh, yes, I should go over my color coding as well. So green, of course, means that the highlighted team has earned themselves a spot at nationals. Teal is I accurately predicted both the state winner and the any additional teams attending nationals. So for Georgia here, or let's go to like New York here. I accurately predicted Syosset would get first, and I accurately predicted Stuyvesant would get second. Yellow is yellow and orange only apply to states that have two teams attending nationals. And for yellow, it just means that I got the order of the top two wrong. So Georgia is yellow because I predicted Fulton Science would get first when in reality Walton got first. Both of them are still going to nationals. I just got the order wrong. And orange is, again, for states that have two teams attending nationals. I only predicted one of the teams correctly. I don't think, no, we don't have any orange highlights yet. Those can, of course, always happen, though. Yeah. Oh, and if like Massachusetts, if the state is or sorry, if the team is highlighted but the state is not, it means I did not predict anything accurately. So Georgia, let's talk about it now. Fulton Science is not a long-running state champion, although they were the state champion for the past 2 years. And of course, they fell to Walton, congratulations, Walton. This is their first ever state competition that they won. They have attended nationals before. It was as the runner-up in Georgia. So this is the second time that they are attending nationals. And let's see here. Yes, Walton beat Fulton Science by just 1 point. And let's see. Do I still have Georgia pulled up? No. Let me get that pulled back up to show you guys here. Nope, not that one. This one. Here we go. So if we take a look at the events here that each team bombed, Fulton Science bombed 1, 2, 3 events, and Walton only bombed 1. So this, of course, is a big reason why Walton won. If Fulton Science hadn't bombed any of these 3 events, then they would have won the Georgia State tournament here. So time and time again, we learn this lesson. Do not bomb events. Again, easier said than done, but if you're trying to focus on maximizing your team score, focus on the events that you're bad at, not the events that you're good at. Now, I also kind of mentioned this. Chattahoochee, if you exclude optics or material science from the total, Chattahoochee would have beaten Fulton Science, showing that this 7-point gap was not very significant. Yes, again, very close race in Georgia, and congratulations to Walton and Fulton Science for being the 2 teams attending nationals. Now, there is this tournament that I am working on adding to my spreadsheet. However, it's quite annoying for me to do so because all of the build events and Right to Do It and Wind Power for some reason, and Fermi Questions isn't an actual event this year. It's always a trial, but all of the build events were trialed. So basically, what I'm going to have to do is like my usual process is just to go across like this and then copy. And then just paste it into the document. But this one, I'm going to need to do some serious modifications to get it added. Now, if this wasn't a very competitive tournament, then I almost wouldn't consider adding this, or I almost would consider not adding this, I should say. However, it is a very competitive tournament. And I'm realizing, why is this just Fermi? Oh, there we go. Okay, that's a little better. I must have clicked on Fermi when I highlighted it. But anyway, yes, this is a very competitive tournament. We have Liberal Arts and Science Academy, Thomas Jefferson, Acton Boxborough, which, funny enough, I'm pretty sure they attended this tournament after their loss at States. March 15th is when it started, and Massachusetts States was March 1st. Yes, so sorry to Acton Boxborough, who must have been anticipating attending this tournament as the state champion and the having the Massachusetts seat to nationals. Regardless, there are quite a few competitive teams here: LASA, Thomas Jefferson, Acton Boxborough, Troy, and Carmel being the main ones. And of course, this has implications for our rankings. So I want to add this to the spreadsheet so that when I, look up any of these teams' names, I can see this tournament and see these teams' totals. But like I said, it's quite annoying for me to do that. So here's your little preview of this, and try and predict how or even if this tournament will affect my rankings at all. So again, my rankings at all. Again, here are my rankings as of now. I'll be finalizing these, of course, when when the national tournament is coming up, and we have all of our nominees from each state, or national attendees from each state. There we go. All right. Anything else to talk about? I do not believe so. So, with that, that brings us to the end of the video. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a great day. Bye.